Hey,
and
guys,
let me know.
we're going. Hey, guys, this is Chris Wilmuth, and I'm here with my partner, Sean King. And today we are here with Shane Jackson, avid pool player, cue connoisseur. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Uh, man, we've been friends on Facebook for a long time. I've never
Many
met you in
years.
person, but I follow you quite a bit. You know, and really been keeping up with you since we started this channel. Um, and we kind of, like I said, this is kind of so people can get to know you, um, how how you grew up. I know you just met some family here a while back, and
Yeah,
so we'll just jump into the questions. Um,
sure.
tell us about growing up.
So I grew up in like a I don't know. I guess I was an only child, and my dad liked to bowl, so we went to a bowling alley, and there was a pool table there. We were waiting on a lane, and he was like, "Let's go play a game of pool." So I was like, "All right, do," and I started hanging out with all these kids that played down there. And then eventually they had like a little 8-ball tournament or something, and I won the very first pool tournament I ever played in, and I was like hooked. Like just I had to keep playing. And they used to give me quarters to play, like a roll of quarters. And then from there on, like I would come home with like more quarters than I started with, or I had accumulated quite a few rolls. And I like was never paying to play pool, so it got to be where I was having a good bit of money for
How old
my
are you?
allowance. I was 13,
Okay.
um, and I probably played bar table 8-ball for, you know, a year or two before graduating to like a bigger table.
So, where'd you grow up at?
Weirton, West Virginia. So it's south of Pittsburgh or southwest of Pittsburgh by about 35 minutes. So that's why I'm always like, if a road player comes through, come on and challenge me. My home court is Pittsburgh, and that's where I grew up. Like from 15 to 16, I learned from Jim Marino, who was like a Johnson City all around champion way back when, and he taught me from you know early to 16, 17, something like that. I think was about the 2 years I worked with him. So I
Wow.
had a little in there with some good players.
Yeah, I'd say so. Uh, okay, so you win your very first pool tournament that you ever played in.
Right. It was great.
Wow.
I was like, this is easy, right? Like
Easy game.
easy game. I'm gonna make millions of dollars. And yeah, no, definitely not like that.
So no more bowling after that?
No, so I'm a terrible bowler. I think like my high game's like 140. And some of my friends down there were like they're bowling like 180s, 200s, and like some of my friends were like, junior national level bowlers, and I just went the other way and like continued to play pool. Where like I have a picture from my first Super Billiards Expo, and I'm like with Karen Core, and I'm like 14 years old, and I'm buying a Falcon for the first time, and I'm like geeked out. So I went the other way. They continued with bowling. Some still do it, but I don't think ever any of them got as far invested into the sport as I am as invested into like this sport.
Well, you probably sold them all their first pool cue when you were like 15.
Oh, all of them. Yeah, I was selling all of them. As kids, you don't have a lot of money, so they're buying players and Lucasis, and later on in life, whenever I got into cue repair, they're like, I still have such and such that I bought off you when we were this age. Will you put that cool black and white ringtail lizard on it? And I'm like, sure. So yeah, it's pretty cool to hear that they still have that, or that they reminisce with me the memories of growing up.
Yeah. Um, Chris, what do you got first for your questions here?
So
Yeah, I'm gonna hit
outside
this one thing
outside
on
of
the
pool.
screen.
Oh, good.
There's one thing on the screen. It's like letting me know you're recording. So let me just step over here and hit it. because it's blocking your beautiful face.
Oh, thank you.
I was talking to Chris.
Oh.
Yeah, you, Sean. Okay, I'm back with my virtual assistant here.
So outside of pool, what was your childhood like?
It was all right. I went to a public up to fourth or fifth grade. Fifth, sixth, and seventh grade, I went to like a Christian school, and then half of a semester I went, or half of a year, I went to a Catholic high school, and I was like, this isn't for me. Put me in the public school. Got to public school. I was flipping quarters with kids, like stuff that I had learned in the pool room. I was taking to school with me. Like this was, you know, probably not the best of things, but it was. I never really got in trouble, or I was never a bad kid. I hustled um, food out of duffel bags to support my pool habit. So like I would buy Hostess and Little Debbie's, and I took a parenting and child development class next to a home ec class, and I would bring this duffel bag to school every day, and I would sell you since the home ec class had like kitchenware. We would do like $1, so you get ramen noodles and 2 Huggies, and kids that didn't eat, I was like feeding kids at school and making $1, just stacking it up. So I had this like, I guess, hustler mentality from a very young age, that for no reason. Like I didn't grow up poor. I just wanted more.
I
So
thought that was called being an entrepreneur.
yeah, I was an entrepreneur at a young age, man. I was like, let's get it. Let's get this money. And you know, like I said, Little Debbie's uh and ramen noodles, like shout out to Top Ramen for keeping me afloat for all those years. Like I kept books and logs, and man, I think I
Those were
kept
the
better
best
records
sellers.
then.
Those were
Yeah,
the best
Top Ramen.
sellers.
Yeah, Top Ramen and 2 Huggies was my like bread and butter. For $1, you got, a sweet drink and chicken noodles. So I
That's a
even
good
paid kids
price.
to, yeah, I even paid kids a quarter to do the dishes. Like if the kids didn't want to eat and like do their own dishes in the home ec class, I'd give the other kid a quarter to. Yeah, it was, man, it was a good time,
What was
different
one of
time.
your What was one of your best days in sales at that time in your
Like
life?
in school, probably like $26. I
Not
mean,
bad.
I had to be there, and like $26 in profit while I have to be somewhere. You got me like held down trying to do this, and I was getting an education in and out of the book. So
So
That
did
made
you
it was one.
did you ever have a real job, or was it
Um
always selling?
I've tried. It's always been a struggle in life to work a real job and be a level pool player that I am, right? So I can't beat the Mika Eminens and stuff on a regular basis, but I'm gonna beat your everyday average player. So you go by life living and making these scores, whether it's from a pool cue or it's whatever. And I would go, and I got a job at 16, was my first job at Subway, and I was just really down and out, and I was like, hate this job. This is terrible. I'm wearing this purple shirt. I don't want to make sandwich. I don't want to be a sandwich maker. And the lady told me, Shane, you're not a sandwich maker. You're a sandwich artist.
Right. That's
And
right.
oh, I said, oh, okay, you got me. I'm a sandwich artist. But then when I got the paycheck and I'm looking at it, it's like $400. I'm like, man, I just beat that guy out of 300. Like, why do I want to go, what I mean, do this? I come home smelling like bread every day. So I've had a couple jobs off and on, but nothing ever really stuck. And I feel like I was always kind of meant to just do my own thing and, pave my own way.
How old are you now?
I'm 36. I'll be 37 in June. So I got a little ways to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I
Did
think
your
we met, I was young when Sean and I met at Derby City many, many years ago.
I remember that week. I'd never seen someone run around the building and make so many sales.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and also you changed the wrap game right then and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The wraps
What?
on the pool cues.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was fun. man,
Yeah.
I've been doing it. Like I was telling somebody, they were like, "How long you been dealing with cues?" And I said, "I bought my first Tim Scruggs at 14, and been buying and selling cues roughly uh 36, 22 years. So
Wow.
makes me feel old."
You don't look old.
Well, I'm not growing any taller. We'll say that.
You look exactly the same, except you have tattoos now.
That's the only reason I did it, so that I look a little older. I don't get carded at the store anymore. They're like, "Well, we at least know he's old enough to be here." So,
Well, let's talk about your biggest transaction for pool so far. Can you remember what
uh,
it is?
like as in a win, and as in like a cash gambling, or as in like a pool
No,
cue
we're going to get
sale.
into your pool playing. We're talking about sales.
Sales, I think probably when I sold a black boar was probably my biggest pool cue sale, which was, I mean, it's insane to even think about purchasing, something like this for, it's a piece of wood. It can slide away, you can, I remember kids stealing cues from Walmart, putting them down their pants and walking out the door. And to think that something like that has value of 25,000 is insane, and up. So there's cues like Haley and Blackboard that all go, that cross that $20,000 threshold. And um, you know, being as passionate as I am about wood and pool cues and the functional art, I was like, I gotta have one. I want one. What's the hype? And I got one, and I played with it for like a year. And I remember people being like, "You're the best player I've ever seen use one of those." And I'm like, Kevin West is a great player. He's incredible and he used one. But a lot of people buy them because they got money and it's like a status, and they want to show off their little, cue collection. But that's probably my biggest, was the black boar, and it was cool. It was an experience. It was definitely a status symbol. You pull it out and it's like, you're King Arthur or something. It's like shing, and they're like, "Oh, don't mess with that guy. He's big time. That guy's big time."
Would you trade it for like a car or something?
So I sold it and I bought an Acura cash, and that was like, I drove that car for a couple years, and got my worth out of it for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's insane to think that um something that transports your cue ball also can transport you physically to wherever you want to go. It's just and that's kind of what pool's done my whole life. If it wasn't for my ability and my arm, I wouldn't be meeting people like you guys, and all the connections that I've made in life is basically through pool, which is really cool.
So
Okay, let's.
how much do you get to play these days?
So right now I'm on a little brief hiatus. Even at Super Billiards Expo, I was having problems with carpal tunnel. So like I looked and I'd be like shaking my hands out and stuff, and I've kind of been putting it off. So normally, if I'm not having carpal tunnel problems, I still play 4 days a week, 5 days a week. I love the game. I'm always going to play it as long as I'm physically capable of playing. And but right now I'm having a hard time gripping the cue, and like on the forward motion, as you kind of tighten up and snap your wrist. Sometimes I'm over snapping, under snapping, scooping under the ball. So with that being said, there's a lot of frustration that comes with not being able to perform at your ability. And I just said, well, I'll just take a little break, get my hands operated on, get back in the gym, and then whenever the time comes, come out, guns blazing.
So I might have a chance right now to win
Yeah, absolutely. This is
for
your
a
best.
little while.
You beat me last time we played. I haven't forgot. It was in one of the practice rooms after hours. So
Well, we didn't play for anything.
no, it doesn't get pride. Pride. It's still bruised. It's still bruised.
I don't remember that. I just
Yeah.
remember
See,
you not missing. I was
see,
like, look at this little guy. He just never
they
misses.
they always say you never remember the people you beat, only the people that beat you. So it's
Well,
one of
one of
those
my
things.
questions is, what was your worst defeat? Well, now I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh
Uh,
man, I think my worst defeat fell to the hands of Raito Gomez 2 years ago at the Super Billiards Expo, and he beat me like 17-14 or 15 the first day for 30,000, and then we took a day break, and then the next day I was leading. I was on the hill at 16-10, I think, or 16-12, and it's hill now, and he plays me a safe, and like I do this like goofy masse, and I masse around and hit the two ball, and it lined right up on the 10, and like it was a shot like your grandmother could make. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just lost $15,000 in one swing on a dead wired frozen ball. So it was a really tough loss. Like I remember just being like so grossed out for like weeks.
Did you sell
So
that cue?
no, it's right here. It's my favorite. It's a Corey Barnhart cue. It's my favorite. I'll probably, I told people I'm going to the grave with that one. So
Yeah, that's what you said last night. You said you want it buried with you.
yeah, that's right, man. I've sold it a couple times and bought it back, and selling it probably was like the worst thing I've ever done. And I'm just like, I gotta, you know, when you switch from cue to cue, every cue is a little different, and some swerve out a little more, some are a little stiffer, but the transition from cue to cue is different, and it takes in a game that's so precise. When you switch instruments, you're not the same guy, so you got to pick one. I love them all, but I have one main one that I play with. If I'm just goofing around, sure, we'll take the toy car for a spin, but if it's like we're getting down, then I got the axe.
That's the daily driver right there. Let's see it one
That's
more time.
that's the daily driver. It's a Corey Barnhart. It's ebony and silver and Amboina Burl, and it's nothing like fancy. Like it's nothing compared to the Black Boar. So I mean, I've
Sure.
had but it seems to be when they cut into them and they add more gingerbread, you start to lose the feel because they're like plugging in extra components. I
Okay.
guess that's at least my thought process.
All right. As a person who's been selling pool cues basically your whole life, do
Yeah.
you think people break up with their cues like after they lose with them, or like you know
Yeah. Yeah,
they went smooth off?
you've seen a guy like, "Ah," and they snap it. Like that's a hard breakup. If they break their cue, or I mean, you even see, like, you know, some of the pros on TV. I know they play with carbon or whatever, but they'll they'll smack the table pretty firm. And I don't know if that's because the sponsor's just like, hey, here's another one. It's not their money or whatever. But when I feel like something like this is as much as a used vehicle, I'm gonna treat it with, care. And, sometimes if just like anything else, like if I put you in a Chevy Cavalier, you're gonna be like, ooh, this isn't me. Or I put you in a PT Cruiser, you're like, this definitely isn't me. I gotta get something else. I definitely feel like there's certain cues that don't fit people's play styles. Like a Mucci's real whippy. If you like to spin the ball and do stuff, that's great cue for you. But if you don't want to do all that stuff, if you're a simple straight shooter, maybe you want something like carbon that's just kind of like straight and stiff and to the point.
I didn't mean break them. I mean like break up with the cue. Like I'm never playing with that cue again. I lost.
Well, if I snapped it, I'd never play with it again. But yeah, there's definitely people that think, oh, like, oh, this one's magic and it makes me play good and I love it. And this one sucks and I'm getting rid of it because it doesn't mesh well with me. And I'm like, dude, it's a piece of wood. At the end of the day, it's the old saying of it's the arrow, not the Indian. But yeah, people definitely get frustrated with their equipment and break up with it and sell it and may never see it again. When they give it to me, I always tell them, you're sure? Because once I sell it, it's going to go maybe overseas. It might go to some guy's Q collection, get stuck in a closet under a bed. Who knows? You're never seeing it again. So be sure that when you depart, it's forever.
They just go on tilt and say, Shane, take this away from me.
Oh, those are the best. Yeah, they're like, I'm tired of this thing. Just get it out of my hair. I don't want it anymore. Give me $500, give me $1,000, and I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I'm in.
All right, Chris, what else you got?
Well, I'm having to upgrade this on Zoom, or it's going to cut off in about 9 minutes. So,
Oh,
so it's having to upgrade. So somebody, I don't go that on here, but have to upgrade my payment method.
oh yeah, yeah. Let
So
me get those digits. We'll make sure that
I got you.
you
Yeah.
get
I got
you
you.
get the right software.
Got you. So, so what's the most expensive cue you've got right now?
Um, right now, until tomorrow, I probably got this James White, and it's already kind of sold. I just gotta deliver it. It's a flame veneer, so it looks like it's on fire, and that's what they call a flame veneer. And it's like yellow, orange, black, and red, and it just looks like you're playing with something. You guys remember Bam Bam Bigelow, the wrestler that had
Yep.
the flames coming out of his arms or out of his wrist? That's what this looks like when you play with it, and it just has like a really cool look. As you're swinging and it's going by fast, it's just like that's cool. So there's a lot of guys that will collect something very specific, and they'll say, "I love flame veneers. I have to have a flame veneer," and that's what they're talking about. That's probably the most expensive one that I have right now. I try to stay in the like $2,000 to $6,000 range, and that kind of like that's a good sweet spot for me, and for people. The $1,500 and $1,000 cues are reserved for um, I don't know, like the production companies.
Okay. All right. We're gonna talk about production stuff in a minute. We're gonna wait it. We're gonna
Yeah,
hold on for 1 second,
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
longer.
All right, you got it. I'll bite the rope.
Um, let's okay, what was I gonna say? Now let's just go right into it. Let's talk about custom cues versus production cues.
Sure. What would you like to know?
Um, why someone should buy a custom cue versus a production cue? What are
Well,
some reasons?
so there's very few production companies left in America. So hold on, we got a notification. This meeting's been up. Oh, okay. All right, the
We got
meeting's been
we got
upgraded.
upgraded.
Okay, let me hit the button again because then
Uh-oh.
it takes you guys away and I can't see. Okay, I'm back. All right. So, in my opinion, a reason somebody should buy a custom queue over a production queue is this thing's gonna my assistant. Um, I guess when it comes to custom queues, it's like this is an artist. This is a guy, usually a one man shop, who builds the queue from the bottom up. So he's building the black and the white, and he's putting it on there, and he's putting all these pieces together, and it's just like a homemade meal. You can go to McDonald's, you can go to Denny's, you can go to whatever, chain restaurant you want. And sure, it's filling, it feels good. But how about that feeling you get when it's a home cooked meal? Your girlfriend makes it, your wife makes it, it's Thanksgiving dinner. It's just like it's made with love. You can tell that these guys are really passionate about what they do, and it's just the quality is there, the feel is there, the feedback is there.
Okay. What
When
about financially? Financially,
financially,
yeah.
so you can get a plain queue like Jacoby's a custom queue, and they're on par with some of the production companies, such as Q-Tech and Predator and those guys, the higher end, production companies. And you can spend under $1,000 and still get a really good custom queue, but made maybe they're Jacoby kind of borders the production custom line, right? They have a huge team, and they all work on it, but it's still home cooked. So for me, it's like I can support them as a custom queue because they can do tremendous things and amazing works of art. But the production side is things get sloppy. quality control's not always there. You know, a lot of cue makers on the custom end, if it's not right, they're throwing it away. Like there's a trash can that has $10,000 worth of work in it, and you're like, that's beautiful. Why is it in the trash? It didn't meet my expectations. It didn't meet, you know, my quality control. And that attention to detail and that um, you know, pride in your work is just, you know, that's what I'm there for, you know, and obviously to support USA and to support guys out there trying to make a living doing something that's almost a lost art. And as everything goes to overseas and other places that are mass producing things, so's our money, our jobs, all that stuff. So, you know, Corey Barnhart, I love his cues, but he's a West Virginia guy. So I'm gonna gravitate toward that. He makes a quality product. He's got a trash can full of things that he's not let out of the shop. And again, it's a home cooked meal and it feels good.
Okay. Well, would you say that these cues go up in value or at least hold their value?
I would say they retain value pretty well. You know, the problem is some of the production cues, they're mass produced. So there's so many and there's nothing special about it. And, you know, if I buy, you know, this, you know, we take this brake cue by a popular you know, mass produced company. How many of these are out there? We don't even know, right? They're just you know, they're rolling down an assembly line. There's nothing special about that. And you know, as a pool player, you want to be unique. You want to be proud of who you are, and nobody picks the same shots. It's like pool's a game of your own mind and how you depict you know what you're gonna do. You know, I might not shoot the same shot you do because I see it different. And you know, the pool cue is an expression of yourself. So you know, I want something that makes me stand out, and I want to express myself with my art and what I think is cool and feels good.
Oh, we need to get you a custom brake cue. I know a guy.
Yeah, that would probably be better than the alternative.
Okay.
Not looking for any papers in my mailbox, right? They're like, hey, we need a cease and desist. You keep talking crap on our product.
Let's talk about painted cues.
Oh goodness. All right. Yeah.
What is
Well,
Midnight Maple?
Midnight Maple is this. So, you know, our normal shafts are maple. Um, some companies choose to use Chinese maple. The best maple comes from, you know, Canada, hard rock Canadian maple. That was the good stuff. And what happened is we kind of departed from that and went to another place where trees grow and started cutting them down and using them in our shaft wood. And it's not high quality shaft wood. So over time, what things happen is they warp and they bend. So to make a cheap black pool cue, so instead of using a quality product like ebony, which is black and it's expensive, and there's different species of ebony, they were like, we should just take this cheap tree that we just cut down and just paint it black. And the guy was like, yeah, dude, that would save us a ton of money. Let's do that. That guy got a raise. So
That guy got a raise.
so when that guy got a raise, like, you know, they started making Midnight Maple. And so people were like, hey man, you know, here's my pool cue, and exactly that just happened, right? My pool cue, it hits off the table. Oh man, Shane, where can I get my stick fixed? And I'm like, let me see it. And they would send me a picture of it, and I'm like, that's painted. So, you know, unless you're guys like Bob Ross or something, like they have to like apply that. You got to put like nail polish or something to fix that, and then they're going to clear coat it, just like you would take your car in. If you know, you get chips and stuff on the front end of your car, it's no different. It's the same thing. So I'm like, you know, it's not just like ebony where it's black all the way through, man. It's painted. And people were like outraged. Like I felt like I blew the whistle on something, and then people were reaching out like, "Oh, I've always knew this," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Listen, you might know it because you're in the game or you're in the industry, but if you're just like the 9 to 5 worker and you love pool and you think, some of these companies are like, really good, and then you spend the money with them and you realize it was like a big marketing thing, you know, I'm passionate about what I do and I want to let people know that like, dude, you didn't get the most value for your money. You know what I mean? You paid for signage and banners and websites. You didn't pay for a product. And that's where I'm like, you don't got to spend the money with me. Like, I don't care. There's tons of guys that sell pool cues. There's tons of guys that make them, but I guess it's kind of like still supporting the mom and pop shops. And that's what we ran on for so long. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you handled that pretty well. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. It bothers me, right? Because I remember being a kid and, like my dad worked in a steel mill, right? So the steel mill was like, United States. And then they started outsourcing all the steel from China. And, at the time I was a kid, I didn't really process all of that. And then later in life, everything was coming from over there. And, I understand people over there have to work, but guess what? We have to work too. And when it affected the industry that I'm in as a grown up, as an adult, and I finally see like why he was so passionate about steel being outsourced, I'm passionate about pool cues being outsourced. And there's like, all the top production brands are being made in China. And it's like you're sending all your money over there for, certain companies to put on a tour, or they're selling a carbon fiber rod that costs $10 for 500. Dude, you're getting took. I got guys that make carbon shafts for 200, and they're still making a good living. 500, that's like, man, that hurts.
like, what if we found out that they're all made by the same company in the same place?
It's a very true statement. I don't think we have to find out. It's basically all under one umbrella that works in shifts. I mean, you know, yeah.
They just change the stickers every week on different batches, or what?
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Um, it's
I
tough,
need a
man.
carbon fiber shaft made, but longer. One to
Yeah.
go like 32.
So that they come long. They're like 32 to 35 inches. And then you cut them, you fill them, you know what I mean? You put a tip and ferrule on there. You plug it with a piece of wood and you tap it with whatever thread size you want. So it's
Yeah.
possible. The reason a lot of guys don't make them that long is because they're not going to fit in your case. But I hear you know a nice case maker, so he could probably make you an extended case.
Oh,
Yeah, or it's carbon fiber. You don't even need a case for it. Just walk in
Just carry it in.
like with your sword.
Just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
also, some cases are made over there too. By the way, if you didn't know.
Of course. Um. Okay. Let's talk. Let's talk the Hunter Lombardo meme.
Yeah,
Memes.
yeah. So satire. It's a joke. It's to I wasn't the first Hunter Lombardo meme maker. Just like anything else, if a new movie comes out, there's like 50 different memes, right? So I jump on the bandwagon, I make a meme, and it's got Hunter Lombardo. Super nice guy. I've played him. He's a great player. He actually was beating me at the Kamui booth one year. I wanted a Kamui Gator grip, and they were only giving out exotic wood Gator grips if you could beat the pro. So it was like $20 a rack to play him. And I watch him play like this APA 4 or 5. No offense to anybody's skill level. And he gets up there and he like bobbles the 10 and lets the guy win. And the guy wins this awesome gator grip. It's made of snake wood. It's super rare. And I get up there and I pay my 20 and he like puts the smack down on me. And I'm like, man. So I try like 3 more games of 10 ball. and I don't beat him. So I go chase down the guy and I buy the Gator grip, and I'm like, all right, I got it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play him one more time. So I finally beat him. Like I've overpaid for this Gator grip, but I got one, and now I have two because I bought one. But it was like, he's a nice guy, super nice. And whenever that whole Scott Frost, Hunter Lombardo discrepancy, goofy rule of the seated player calls the foul. Um, I feel like that could be easily exploited. Whether he exploited it or not, I don't know. But I made the meme of Hunter with Hunter Lombardo in the middle as the love child of David Spade and Ellen DeGeneres. And you know, there's some similarities in but it's a joke. It's everybody, like, his birth certificate definitely doesn't have those two people on it, right? As his parents. So so it's meant to be a joke, and a lot of people laughed. Some people took it very serious, to the point where they let it interfere with business relationships. And you know I, I never let people's religion, politics, sexual preferences, anything interfere with business or my relationship with them. Like, if you like the same sex, cool. You like Catholic, Baptist, whatever. If you're, Muslim, I don't care. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. You like pool? Me too. Like, that's where I'm at. And
I'm married, so I have the same sex all the time.
yeah. 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 Like, vanilla ice cream is better than none. So that's good.
Um, okay, so you're not afraid to ruffle some feathers and
Absolutely.
say how you feel about things. Do you
Yeah.
ever
I
go
like to.
back? Do you ever go back afterwards and be like, like
Oh,
I
I'm,
would take
I'm,
that back. Do you ever have any regrets on anything you say?
I mean, sure. I mean, you could ask Miss America at the end of the pageant, like, how did you feel about answering about, question two, or how you'd save the world? She's like, you know what, that was played out. I should have did something different. Absolutely. Maybe I don't make that meme, but then again, why live life with boundaries, and like, why have anybody dictate and tell me that I can't say or have freedom of speech? I'm
Yeah.
gonna do what I want to do. I'm almost 40. Like, I'm not gonna let some other grown person tell me, don't do this, don't make this meme, how dare you. Like, um no, man. I mean, it's cool. I mean, we've all said things in life, whether you're breaking up with a girl, and heat of the moment, you're like, I hate you, and you're like, man, I really don't hate you, I love you, I'm sorry. But you know it's not a big deal, man. It's I've been making some pool memes, and people get like, what's, you have chips on your shoulder, like, why are you so angry? I'm not angry. I'm just passionate about the sport. And I don't want to see people get robbed. I don't want to see jobs leaving. Like, I want to, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that don't know the sport and the industry like we do, and that are just kind of like, maybe they're just learning, or they're just getting into the pro side and seeing the other stuff. And I try to enlighten them and make it fun, and let them know that I'm not just there to just take your money. Like, dude, I'm not just a Q salesman. I'm not just trying to get you for 2,000 or whatever.
Yeah. Um, okay. All right. So we brought up the two things there. Um,
I try not to use any names, because I'm not trying to be direct, and I don't harvest feelings toward people like that. It's
okay.
over. It's done. It's done. It's over. It's whatever. There's other products I can sell.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk more about you and maybe where pool has taken you in this country or beyond.
Man, pool's taken me everywhere. I mean, even with in my personal life, doing the ancestry.com, I found refuge on the West Coast. I got to go see Oscar Dominguez, and I knew people in hard times in Sacramento. And I can go north to Canada with Brandon Schuff and know people there, and go down to Florida and see Raymond Linares and a ton of guys that I've sold cues to. And I mean, it's just this game is beautiful, and it's taken me to, meet guys like you, Derby City, and Chris. I've got friends in Texas, and if I'm ever passing through or got a flat or whatever, it's nice to know that you got extended family. It's just cool, man. It's really cool. Pool's really given me everything, and that's why I give everything back. You know.
Okay. All right. Is Shane Jackson single?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely
Very
single.
single?
Very single. Not a lot of girls are cool with me just like spending like 20,000 on a weekend buying pool sticks. So I once had a girl, again, not ever going to use a name, but we were at the table and I just bought a Southwest. And for people that don't know, Southwest are really hard to get. They have a 14-year wait period. So people sell them for, way more than what the original cost is. And I spend like 6,000 on this cue. And she's like berserk. Like, I can't believe you just spent 6,000 on a pool cue. You don't even have a bedroom set. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, did I hear that right? Like, first off, I have a bed and it's on a frame, and I have like a TV in the bedroom, and it's like, it's on like a table. I had like a table with like a drape over it. And I'm like, all right, let me put it into perspective. Have you ever bought a bedroom set, like, like I'm talking like dressers, like with the mirror and all that stuff, and then you go try to sell it? She's like, yeah, why? I'm like, well, you pay like 1,500 or 2,000 for the bedroom set, and then you move. Well, how do you get rid of it? Well, you got to put it on Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. I'm like, yeah, and what do you get out of it? Like pennies on the dollar you get out of that bedroom set. And then you got to pay two big, strong, burly guys a case of beer and two pizzas, and you got to get it out of your house. I'm like, I'm buying this Southwest for 6,000. I'm probably going to sell it for 7,500. Like, that's what I do. Like, that's, it's not like we're living on the floor, babe. Like, we're eating good. I'm buying, but I don't
Top and
plan
bottom
on.
sheets.
Yeah, top and bottom sheets. Yeah. We got memory foam pillows. Let's go. So, that's, not a lot of them are cool with that. If they realize it's your business, it's okay. But as a pool player lifestyle, which I think Sean, you can probably relate, I'm not sure about Chris, is when you're on the road and you're traveling a lot, it's hard to maintain those relationships, and it's hard to be present at a lot of like functions and stuff. So, if I do a trade show or something, I'm gone for a week. I'm at a hotel. I'm not home. I can FaceTime you and call you, but it's difficult. So, me now, I'm a little more close to where home base is more often than not, and I'm not doing as many Super Billiards Expos and as many Derby cities for 9 days. You try to tell your partner you're gone for 9 days, they're like, "What? That doesn't even make sense. 9 days? You're gonna be gone that long?" I'm like, yeah, that's the Derby, babe, and then I'm gonna sleep like 7 hours of that. So
Do they
they
feel? Do
really,
they think you're just taking vacations? It's like,
oh
oh,
yeah, absolutely. I would love to do what you do. It's so easy. I'm like, you don't realize what I do. I'm on the phone with 15 people a day, and all I do is sell pool sticks. You know, if I was playing too, like, it's so consuming of your life. Pool in general is consuming. Whether you're just learning and you want to go to the pool hall and spend 4 hours and play, or you're fascinated by the artwork or whatever. Pool is consuming. So yeah, they think that you're just out there enjoying life or whatever, but no, it's a little it's a little more than that.
you ever get burnt out and it's like, hey, I need a vacation. Not answering
Yeah,
my phone. Not taking my pool cue.
yeah.
Going to
my two
going somewhere.
my two favorite types of vacations are, I like to go camping, and I like music festival camping. Like when I was younger, I would like, do some of the music festival activities that the younger people do. But as I'm older now, I just go for the music and like just to be a part of that like crowd mentality where everyone's singing and having a good time. And then my other favorite vacation is the beach. I just like to just sprawl out and sunbathe and just, stress free. So, you can never have too many of those types of vacations, I think, to clear your mind and come back to the table with a clean slate and a clear mind.
Okay. All right. What talents do you have that people may not know? We know you're a great pool player, and we know you know how to work on pool cues, which is a talent in itself. What other talents you got up your sleeve that
Man,
people may not know?
Besides
that's a
fixing
good
ramen.
question. Yeah, yeah.
The great school hustle.
Yeah, I really don't know. It's so consuming that I don't really do a lot outside of pool. Like when we hang up, I'm gonna go get a shower and go to the pool hall. So even though I'm
Right.
not playing, I still enjoy that camaraderie of being around the guys and watching a match. And even if it's something silly, I like to, sweat it and bet a 20 or $50 bill on it and just have something to do and be invested. Um, Great skill. I think I was a table games dealer for 3 years of my life. So I can do some like little poker chip tricks and stuff, but um, that's probably about it. I think the other cool thing was I was like an Oreo stacking champion as a kid. Like I joined I was like in a grocery store and Oreo was doing some kind of like competition to win a trip to Orlando. Like who could stack the most Oreos in like a minute or something. I did like 25 or 27 Oreos. But
Did
I
you win?
mean, yeah, I won some stuff. Yeah, I
How
never
did you
went
go
to
to
Florida.
Orlando?
I didn't. I chose not to go to Orlando. I was kind of like I was like kind of nerded out by it. I was like, I don't know, like this is weird. Like I'm gonna tell people I'm gonna wear like an Oreo belt or Oreo watch or like what? How does this work? But yeah, that was cool. that was a that was a weird time in life, but. That
Okay.
probably, I guess, Oreo stacking was probably my talent.
Okay. Okay. Um, Chris, I don't want to take all the good questions, but I just coming to me. What would you like to see change in pool in our game?
Well, I really like what the youth is doing. I really like, I owned a pool room for a few years, and I was very fortunate, as these two display cases are. My pool hall was right in the middle of two major high schools, so I really liked working with the kids, and they would come down and they would play, and that's the future of pool. So I really like what they're doing. I would really like everybody to get on the same page with the WPA and all that stuff with Matchroom because there's not a lot of money that these guys are playing for now. And if you put a divider and and there's division between the two parties, you're really just you're separating, you're splitting, you know, very small rations already. And
The
I
pay
really
cut.
wish that it's a huge pay cut. You're going to let the WPA happen, and you're going to have one or two winners every event because that's just how it is. That the countries have to let their federation and their player play. But I really wish that we could all get on the same page. Like why can't we be friends? like like let pool be what it is, and I would really like to see something like the action report tar that used to be really big come back. Let a guy with one table and camera equipment stream these big matches instead of everybody with a cell phone and a tripod doing subpar streams. Let's really get behind like, that's pool's history is that back room matching up guys pooling their money together for two guys to battle. And I like where it's going with the Louis Vuitton belt buckles and the jam up shirts and all that stuff. It looks really professional, but I don't want to lose sight of where it all originated from because I feel like that is kind of giving up on your roots and you're kind of selling out to this production image. So I feel like pool should be broadcasted on whoa, look at me, that's cool.
Do that?
I didn't do it. My hands are over here. I feel like I feel like it should be broadcasted on two different levels. I still feel like there should be, this big hype UFC style, Sean King versus Shane Jackson, ring style. Let's do the hype, and then I feel like there should be the pro side, and there should be tournaments, and there should be this, but there's got to be that I don't want to fight Royce Gracie one on one, blood sport, because that's the warrior part. Tournament players and action players are two different breeds of people, and I feel like they don't celebrate the action player as much as they do the tournament player. And I feel like they should really just they should celebrate both as a prize fighter and as a tournament player.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I know you had like 10 questions on that list.
No, we went through all of them. My last question is, what's ahead for you, Shane? I mean,
In the AirPod fell out. Getting smaller ear holes, definitely. No, next for me, well, carpal tunnel surgery is huge on my list, and after that, it'll be right back to practicing and being that prize fighter. That'll probably always be in my blood and in my veins, to be in the action and play for those crowds of people. Just like a wrestler, as a kid, I think I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and obviously with my stature being 5 foot 145, like that's never gonna happen, right? Like Rey Mysterio's 5'6", Kevin Hart's 5'5", you know what I mean? So I'm 5'1". So once I get the hands done, I think I'll be back on the scene, back in action, and doing this, setting up at a tournament or setting up at a trade show, and just, being there, being present, and promoting the sport everywhere I go.
Okay. Who would you like to see us interview? Who would you watch?
Who would I watch? Scooter, Tedder,
Scooter?
yeah.
Scooter.
Um, Even if you did someone who can transition from industry to industry, like a JRB out of Las Vegas, who was John Robert. He was on Survivor. He was, professional poker player and super high stakes pool player. And I think he has industry or has experience under the lights of professional poker, studio. I can't say studio lights because they're on an island or whatever, doing Survivor, and then being under the dimly lit lights of the pool room, and playing for, large sums of cash. And I feel like somebody like that would have an interesting perspective to the sport, who enjoys it and loves the action, and actually tangos with the pro players as well.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
And he's like 7 foot tall.
Yes, he's very
He's a
intimidating. Yeah.
monster.
I went up to ask him to play, and I got pretty close, and he told me no, and I was like glad. I was really kind of just happy that he didn't want to play, because I was intimidated from the gate. I'm 5 foot, and I'm like, "Hey, Mister, do you want to play?" So yeah, but I think somebody like that would be really cool. Just obviously it's always, let's get the big names and let's do up and coming people and whatever. And I just feel like there's a lot of people out there who other people don't know but are big players in the industry, because a guy like that feeds a lot of pool players behind the scenes.
I bet. Okay. Do you want to do this again soon? We'll have
Sure.
a whole different. We'll have a whole different.
Absolutely.
things to talk about.
For sure. And I'll have my camera set up better. I won't be playing position as you called it the day before, but I'll have it set up a little bit better. So
No, it was
Oh, you look
great.
great.
Especially every time you
Yeah.
put a thumbs up, you'd have a thumbs up show up, or
yeah,
your little fireworks. It was pretty cool.
yeah,
Oh,
that was fun. People tuned in, so I hope that people watch this and keep supporting the United States and you know
well,
buy
I'm
homegrown and homemade.
I'm going to leave a link to your website in the description below.
You're the nicest, sweetest guy ever.
Hey guys, appreciate y'all joining in on this episode of the Pulling Around Show. I want to thank Shane for joining us. If
Anytime.
y'all enjoy content like this, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. And we'll see y'all next time on the Pulling Around Show.
See you later.
See you, man.
Later, Shane. It was
See you
fun.
later.